What I'm about to share with you is some unsettling information. So I hope you don't have a weak stomach, because we're going to get right into this. What's the word, YouTube? This is kumasiscorpio. Today we're going to talk about the 2 times that I was almost killed this year. I have an idea as to who exactly it might be that is making these attempts on my life, but I'll save that for the end. And if you have any ideas or thoughts, make sure to leave that in the comment section. A couple of months ago, I was in Virginia visiting my brother and sister, and I always wanted to learn how to skateboard. I didn't know how to do that growing up, and so I would just ride around the streets trying to figure it out. It wasn't too hard because I knew how to ripstick when I was younger. One day, I'm making a trip to 7-Eleven, which is just a few blocks away. It's along the side of a parkway because it's also a gas station. And there are a couple of cross intersections where people would try to get onto the parkway, or they would get off and go into a neighborhood or what have you. And so on my way back from 7-Eleven, I start to approach one of the cross intersections, and I saw that there were cars on the way, so I just moved over a bit. I didn't need to make any kind of mistakes and end up getting hit by a car in the middle of the parkway. So I see there's a car approaching to try and get onto the parkway, but he stopped, or at least that's what he was supposed to do. As I'm in the middle of the street, he floors it, and the car is now headed towards me. I jumped ship. I hopped off of the skateboard in just enough time because it ended up snapping the skateboard. It tapped my leg a little bit, but I was all the way fine, and I was annoyed because watch where you're going. He had a very nice car, so I'm sure it wasn't his first car. You know how to drive. Pay attention. He gets out and he's asking me these questions and stuff. Oh, are you alright? Do you want me to call the cops? It wasn't all that necessary because I was fine. I walked off. He went off to work or something like that. As annoying as it was, it's better that it was me, somebody who has the instincts to survive and is fast enough to do so, rather than if it was some other kid in the neighborhood. There are a lot of kids in that neighborhood, and he was driving around like that really recklessly. It wasn't good, and it wasn't safe. So hopefully he pays more attention when he drives now. So that was the first time that they tried to have me killed. Notice again, I'm saying they, because you will find out at the end of the video. Number 2. I had to say it like that because that's how those guys who do the 10 scariest places to visit thing talk. Those YouTube videos, when you get to that side of YouTube, for whatever reason, they say everything like this, and she saw something paranormal. Number 9. It gets on my nerves. Number 2. As a lot of people are aware, there was a tropical storm that went through part of the country. It left a lot of destruction in its wake, as these things do. I woke up in the middle of it. I didn't even know that it was a thing. I didn't know it was coming. And I'm just hearing like electricity popping and something weird going on, but it was coming from outside of my house. I heard the wind and all the rain and all this weird stuff going on, but I was just like, I'm tired, so I went back to sleep. This was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Later on, I wake up and apparently power is out. I was going to leave to hang out with one of my friends, but I happened to see my family in the backyard trying to figure out how to turn on a generator to get things working in the house during the time of the power outage. So I decided to go see what was going on. I ended up staying to help for a couple of hours. Decided not to go altogether just because something was saying for me to stay. Maybe 2 hours later, this is now about 2 or 3 o'clock, the generator turns off. So I went downstairs and my cousin came with me, and I turned it back on. Within 5 to 7 minutes it turned off again. So this time I left it because it had started to rain anyway, so it was for the best regardless. About 5 minutes later, all of the electrical appliances in the house turned on. The lights in the living room and the kitchen and every floor of the house was lit up. You heard the electricity buzzing. My cousin and I are just sitting there for like 2 seconds because Didn't seem like a big deal until we heard his family screaming from their part of the house. At which point, we're immediately thinking something crazy is going on. So he goes to see what's happening, and I went with him. We hear them running up the stairs and screaming, and somebody said fire. At which point, we're like, okay, so there's a fire. We're evacuating them from the house. I went up to get my grandmother and her husband. They made their way downstairs. My cousin's mom, my aunt, comes up the stairs and she trips and drops her phone. And she's trying to find the phone, and I'm like, forget the phone. The house might be about to blow up. Let's get out of here. And I told her, I'll find the phone. And, you know, so she left and I found the phone. Come to find out, she picked up the wrong phone anyway. So now we're all out the house and everything's decent for a bit, minus the fact that water was shooting out of our front lawn and onto the sidewalk because the whole thing broke some kind of pipe. Now, a couple of hours later, the firemen have come and gone. There really wasn't anything that they could do because there was no active fire. There wasn't a fire in the house. It was just that the breaker was going haywire because of just the sudden surge of power. Everything was okay. The sun is starting to rise. A couple of guys from the city are here to check out what's going on. In the middle of them talking to me, my grandmother, and my cousin, the pole across from the street, those electrical hi-hats on it, started to do the thing that it was doing before, and it was shooting out sparks. One time it shoots so far that it reaches to our side. Everybody starts to scatter. There's these steps, little short gray steps that lead up to about 4 brick steps. My grandmother was standing on the first gray step. I was standing on the one after that with my cousin. This spark shoots across the street, and where most people are just gonna run in some direction, my grandmother, bless her soul, yells at the top of her lungs, "God save me," and flings herself towards the front door, causing her to trip over the step, and now her head is headed towards the brick steps. And I happened to be there in the moment to catch her, but she was still spazzing out and stuff because she was just in panic, I guess. So if this is her, I've got her, and she's like fighting me when I'm trying to turn her away from the sparks, and I'm just like, I got you, stop. Eventually she calmed down, but you know, she almost killed me too. I mean, that's about the end of that story. Everything turned out alright. I left and stayed with my girlfriend for a couple of weeks while Con Edison came and fixed everything they needed to fix. So now, that's 2 freak things that have happened to me in the past 2-3 months, all around the time when my first album is set to drop. Do you guys have any idea of who it might be? I'll give you a hint. That's right. The Illuminati is after me. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I imagine. These things happen. The important thing is to never panic. That's one thing. I have never been the type to panic. I've almost died like 2 other times before this year, and including drowning at Splish Splash. If you want to hear that story, say so in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. One time a cop almost shot me, and that's another story. If you want to hear that, put in the comment section. I don't know that the Illuminati is after me. Probably not, but then again, you never know. I mean, if you think so, say so in the comment section. If you think it's a total coincidence, say so in the comment section. That's all we've got for today. Follow me on my social medias, check out my official website, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, share, put people on. Till next time.